You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.
Thank you for listening to Community Forum. My name's Johnny Chandler. I'm the owner of KCCC 930 AM and the host of Community Forum. With me today is the Bureau of Land Management, Carlsbad Field Office, Roswell Field Office, or both?
Both. The Pecos District?
Pecos District. That's what I did not bother to research before we started. All right, to my left is Wendy Brown. Wendy Brown has been with us before. Welcome.
Thank you.
Right across from me, you can't see us, but across the desk from me when we're recording is, I think, one of the newest BLM employees, Ashley Shreves.
Hi, yeah.
All right, so Wendy Brown's the public affairs officer. Ashley Shreves is the outdoor recreation planner. Brand new, right?
Brand new, just about a month in.
A month in at BLM. And then to my right is Ty Allen. Ty Allen is the assistant field manager?
Yes.
For resources, or just does it for everything?
For resources.
Okay, but resources are everything in the land's a resource.
Generally, yeah.
Okay, all
It's
right,
a
cool.
lot.
All right, I want to make sure I got that right. So we're going to start by picking on Ashley a little bit today because she's brand new. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you joined the BLM, how long you've been in Carlsbad, why are you so passionate about public lands, and when you tell us what your job was before BLM, it goes to the same thing. You're obviously passionate about nature and the land. So go ahead and give us a little bit about you.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm originally from North Carolina. I came out here just about 2 years ago. I got the opportunity to work at Carlsbad Caverns National Park as a park guide. So I was looking for a new opportunity, a new experience. So I decided to apply for BLM outdoor recreation planner and just got incredibly lucky and got it. So essentially, I really think that connecting people with the outdoors, with their community, and with their resources is one of the most exciting kind of career paths one can take. So, getting to do this particular position, the outdoor recreation planner, I get to kind of maintain a bunch of very cool sites that I haven't known about in my 2 years living here, which is really
Now,
awesome.
did you know about the Carlsbad National Caverns Park before you got the job here?
Before I didn't know about Carlsbad Caverns National Park really in depth until I got the job over there as a park ranger.
Right,
So,
naturally.
Of course. So I had worked there for about 2 years and kind of not really explored very much of Carlsbad or Eddy County.
So you never went to the caverns when you were a kid as a family or anything like that?
No. I hadn't really visited national parks very much as a kid, honestly. I wish I had, but getting to know them as an adult and getting to kind of explore these little really interesting pockets of culture, of history, of natural resources has been really fun, getting to do so professionally, but then also in my free time.
Right. So if you didn't visit national parks or do a lot of outdoor recreation growing up as a family, where did you find the passion to make this your career?
So we did a little bit of, kind of like car camping when I was a kid. We would go to some state parks around Charlotte area. I was originally in college planning on going into kind of resource management, nonprofit sort of stuff. And partway through, I was a double major, sustainable development, global studies with nonprofit and Spanish minors, and was so overwhelmed. And I got to actually volunteer over spring break of 2020, a tumultuous spring break. I got to volunteer at Kip to Peak State Park in Virginia. And we got to essentially do a whole bunch of manual labor and get to talk to the park rangers there about how much they love their jobs. They got to work with hands-on with the resource, got to connect people to their community, to the resources, and talking to them about how passionate they were. I was like, well, that's what I want to do, of course. And so I got back, changed my major to recreation management. This is at Appalachian State University. Changed my major to recreation management and kind of started pursuing this like park service, public lands kind of career path. And one thing led to another, and all the kind of opportunities lined up just right for me to end up in this position, which it feels like a correct fit.
Okay, great. We'll get back to you more about what an outdoor recreation planner does, as well as how the community can get involved in the planning process. I'm sure that's part of what you do. But I'm going to shift to Ty Allen real quick. Ty, we haven't had you on in a little while. I appreciate you coming on. I don't have a specific question for you necessarily, but why don't you give us a little update about what's going on?
I'm just really blown away at the energy that Ashley brings.
Yeah, that's energetic for sure.
Doesn't that just make you want to go enjoy public lands?
Yeah, no, I do not. So I'm gonna tell you real quick. I don't. For anybody, this will be a good transition. I do not like camping. 100% do not like camping. Not even a little bit. Now, I don't want to share too much. This is public radio, but it's the facilities and when you wake up in the morning that are my issue when it comes to camping, right? The lack of facilities, the lack of a nice hot shower, nice toilet, sink, stuff like that. That's what I struggle with when it comes to camping. And so I'm not a fun person to go camping with.
And so around here, we're still primitive based.
Okay, yeah.
And the cool thing about recreating in Carlsbad on public lands is we don't have fees yet.
Okay, right.
A lot of
primitive
places,
and no fees kind of go hand in hand a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but camping doesn't. And so if you go just north into the Roswell area, they've got some really nice campgrounds, but they're also fee-based.
So what's the mindset behind? So there's not a single campground, a publicly owned campground in all of Eddy County that charges a fee to stay there?
Not that we manage.
Not that BLM, yeah, that was my point, is the ones that BLM manages. Of course, as a taxpayer, we kind of already pay for that anyways, in a way. So, but if you're the Pecos office, I don't know who can answer this for me. If you're the whole Pecos office, which includes Roswell and Shreves County and Eddy County, does it include Lee County at all too?
Yes.
Okay, right.
All
So,
of Lee County.
all right. So, why when I go to Roswell or Shreves County, I get charged, but if I'm in Eddy County, I don't? What's the difference there?
And so just speaking from Carlsbad,
Yeah.
I would say a part of it is the type of facility it is, and so there's one that really attracts the equine visitor. So there's got to be extra room, there's got to be corrals, there's has to be more maintenance that goes into it, and it's fairly remote. And so if you're looking for the bathrooms, if you're looking for anything like that to help you bring in the horses, help you take care of yourself, stay for a while, and have a good time, that takes a little bit more management.
Right,
So
okay.
there may be fees associated with that.
Sure.
There may be fees with anything that's more remote, more defined, more upkeep,
Okay.
things like that. And in here, I think we're getting there
Okay.
for some locations. For the most part, we're on staff time, volunteer schedule, that kind of thing, and we're doing it. We've got I think 7 or 8 bathrooms that are out there. They have trash facilities,
Right.
So we've got the basics, and right now we're at that happy medium between we're not ready to bring in fees yet, but I think we're getting there with some things.
Right.
And keep in mind, a lot of our campgrounds here locally are in response to the parks, really. Because
Right.
The parks bring in a lot of people, but once you get all the way down to the parks,
Yeah,
there's not a lot of places to
It's
stay.
remote, yeah.
And so we ended up with dispersed camping. So somebody just pulls off the road in a open spot, maybe starts a fire, or maybe do whatever that you would do when you're camping, and then leave.
Right.
And then so whatever they left is whatever somebody else may find. So we have these sites where we can focus people, get them into these
And give them some
maintained
amenities
areas.
to make it feel nice
Give
while
them a
you're
little
there
bit of
too, right? Yeah.
amenities, give them a trash can, just something that simple. And then that reduces a lot of other problems that we may run into with just no knowledge of everybody scattered across the country.
Well, it's like illegal dumping, right? The county does not charge for you to get rid of your trash at the dump sites or the convenience centers, because otherwise they're just going to dump it wherever, right? So if you don't have a generalized place for everybody to kind of camp or set up areas where there's some amenities, they may just do it wherever, and that's ultimately, Ashley, in the short amount of time you've been with BLM, is that more detrimental to our public land if you have dispersed camping everywhere versus like idealized campsites?
It kind of depends, honestly, because kind of looking at the tragedy of the commons, kind of like if everyone is like using dispersed these areas with, for example, really sensitive vegetation or things like that, it can overall impact the landscape in a really detrimental way. But if we put in a lot of our campsites right now are built on reclaimed oil pads, for example.
Right.
Those are areas that have already been very disturbed, and we can kind of, in these already disturbed areas, we can consolidate that dispersed impact into one place that, it won't do as much harm, sort of thing.
Right. Well, we have potential for a lot of campsites in Eddy County at some point in the future.
There we go.
right. And we do still encourage dispersed
Oh,
camping.
absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come hunting season, you'll see people
Oh,
everywhere.
absolutely.
All right, so that's a good question then. like I did not know that. I assumed that like if you had a campground, you wouldn't want. So I can just go almost wherever I want on BLM landing camp, right? There's some rules associated with that, right? Pack in, pack out, those type of things.
Yeah, ideally not leaving trash and things.
Right.
But then also there are some areas that are, for example, really sensitive vegetation. Those are typically marked like you and also typically a bit more, what's the word, kind of isolated, I suppose. You have to work to get over there.
Oh, okay. Right.
But essentially most places on BLM land, you're good to dispersed camp. The areas that we have campgrounds are typically, it's a response to visitor use and visitor need.
Okay.
If we see people, for example, around the caverns, there are 3 different places where there are fire rings built in. There are grills. There are, things like that. So for example, Sunset Reef Campground is one of the more developed sites. Talking about those amenities you're looking for, it has a whole pit toilet for you to use.
All right,
There we go.
That's one of those compostable ones, or what?
Yeah, it's a kind of vault toilet kind of situation. Yeah,
That's something, man. I'm all right with that.
yeah, and it has kind of shade shelters and grills built in and fire rings and things like that. Because we were seeing all around Carlsbad Caverns National Park, we were seeing people. A lot of people trying to, minimize their impact, disperse camp, but just so many people were doing it in these areas that it was having an impact. So we built out these campgrounds in places where people could access the caverns a bit easier,
What are some of the things, Ashley, that you would learn as an employee who's been with BLM for 2 months now, or just over 2 months? What are some of the things when you have a new job that you would learn? Can you, think about like how many acres of BLM land is there in Eddy County, right? Like how many campsites do we have? Like how many recreation areas? Do you want to share some of the knowledge that you just got with us? You got some campgrounds you want to tell us? You got idea of acreage and stuff like that? Because it's a lot to learn. You've only been there 2 months, so there are no wrong answers because you're brand new.
Perfect.
Right?
No wrong answers.
You're not sitting in front of people who are above you at all. You're fine, right?
Yeah, my boss's boss
Let's
isn't here for sure.
just a little pop quiz, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I've learned so far is that there's a lot to learn. Essentially, the things that I manage, we have our wonderful waterways where people can have all sorts of like kayaking, fishing, swimming, all sorts of water-based recreation. I've learned about a lot of spaces on our waterways in the Black River, the Pecos River that I fully had not heard about before.
Didn't even know they exist when you're
Yeah.
driving down National Parks Highway, right? You have no idea that
Absolutely.
the Black River is like right there.
Right. Yeah. I had gone to Cottonwood Day Use area. Is one of our areas.
It's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. There's some. Hopefully soon those trees will grow up a little bit more. We'll get some lovely shade out there. There's that deck.
Yeah, that deck's new within a couple of years, isn't it? 3
It is.
years. Yeah.
And we redid it or fixed it up a little bit last year for National Public Lands Day.
Right. Yeah, that's really beautiful because I know that there was a kind of a bit of a devastating fire years and years ago down there. So I'm glad that you guys are able to bring it back because it's coming back better than ever too. It's definitely worth a visit if you don't know where that's at.
Absolutely. It is lovely. Yeah. If over near the national park, there's a big red sign that says Washington Ranch.
Yeah,
and if
that's
you
the Washington
take
Ranch
that-
turnoff.
yeah.
And then you can also visit I know it's not your guys' land, but it's still cool. It's the Rattlesnake area.
Rattlesnake Springs.
Springs. I know that that's not y'all, but it's still, and it's right around there, so it's worth the trip.
Yeah.
You just stop there too on the way through.
It's a lovely, that's managed by the National Park Service.
Right.
It is a really lovely birding area. And for birding, a lot of different river sites are fantastic. For example, along the Pecos River, there's 6 Mile Dam, which I didn't know about until working at the BLM.
And there's been some money invested in 6 Mile Dam too. I was listening to someone just the other day who was bragging about how nice it was at 6 Mile Dam compared to how it was like 5 years ago or something. So yeah, great. Kudos on that for sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
yeah.
You were the outdoor recreation planner. So tell us a little bit about what the outdoor recreation planner does. And I know before we started recording, you kind of had something about how important public input is in your position as well. So why don't you give us some of that?
Yeah, so I do a hodgepodge of things. Essentially, my job is to facilitate folks connecting with the resource. That means making sure that the facilities are up to snuff, making sure that they're maintained properly. It also means working with the public to make sure, for example, larger scale recreation is done safely. So I manage special recreation permits as well. And then also I work with, for example, there are different community groups that are very passionate about recreation. So we have different fishing communities, OHV groups, biking groups, and things like that, who they have expressed interest or even worked by themselves to maintain these really lovely resources, like, for example, the Hackberry Lake OHV area. We have community groups like the Cavern City Trail Keepers who work really hard to maintain those trails. And so with that, talking to them about what their needs are, what they want from us as the BLM, how we can improve the sites, and kind of working to, so I get to work to establish projects, upgrade facilities, put in requests for things to help meet the needs of the public as they let me know about them, essentially.
And so how do you receive public comment, right? What's the best way for an individual to reach out to you? How can I put your email on blast for everybody in the county? Just email you like crazy.
Perfect,
but what's the best way for besides, public meetings that you're going to have that'll be publicized as well before every major change or anything like of that nature, right? How can they just let you know on a random day?
Yeah, so through our website, there is a portal to contact us, or you can reach my email at Shreves, SHRE, V as in Victor, ES, at BLM, as in Bureau of Land Management.gov, with any things that you want to see out of your recreation public lands. And other than that, there's even our Carlsbad field office. If you really want to, you can go to the front information or the front desk and request to talk to the recreation folks, and I can come out and
where would be the best place for me to go to find information about the public lands and BLM, as well as how to plan my recreation weekend or my recreation day, right? Where's the best place for me to go?
So going to the Bureau of Land Management websites, they have a portal. If you search Bureau of Land Management Recreation, they have a portal to where, not just for the Carlsbad field office, not just for Eddy County, but for the entirety of BLM, they have a really cool map that you can use where you can search by recreation type. Are you looking to practice, equestrian recreation? Are you looking to swim? Are you looking to fish, camp? You can use this really neat GIS-based kind of map to search for. It'll come up with a bunch of different points.
The layers on a GIS map are really fun to play with too. If you're
incredible.
kind of if you like Google Maps like I do, right, just searching around Google Maps, you'll like searching around the BLM or any GIS map that the government provides, because they operate slower than Google Maps. It takes a while for everything to load. But I will say that they're really fun to play with, and there's so much public data in there that people aren't aware of. That I used to be a public information officer too for the city of Albuquerque, so Wendy Brown can know this. You get these calls and these meeting inquiries, and all they had to do was look it up on the website, and the information was right there and beautifully laid out. But that's the job, you know what I mean? So you can also reach out to Wendy Brown if you're a member of the public as a public affairs officer. That's primarily, she's there for you. Why don't you give us your email address again, Wendy?
W.A. Brown, just like the color, at blm.gov.
Okay, excellent. Ty, are you her boss? Are you her manager? Supervisor? I don't know what the correct word is. Boss is definitely not the right word anymore, I understand. But, are you her direct supervisor? Did you have a hand in hiring Ashley?
I would say a hand, but I was not as close as I would like to have claimed.
Okay.
In the process.
Well, yeah, now you want to claim her. After 2 months in, sounds like you're like, oh, that's all me, right? That's probably what I would do. What else am I missing, Ashley? You've got a lot there on this little page you wrote out in preparation for the interview. What did I not let you say?
I honestly, most of my notes, which I've probably over-prepared, is just very detailed information on our different recreation sites. So, for example, the Black River Recreation Area, just over 1,200 acres of recreation area that you can go and enjoy. Pecos River Corridor. There's all sorts of different recreation sites. Going through our website is a great way to see them all kind of consolidated. Or I can ramble on about them all day if you'd like.
We've got a couple minutes if you'd like to ramble.
Oh, perfect. Okay, wonderful. So for me at least, one of my favorite recreation activities is hiking. I really like kind of just moving through. There's the physical challenge, getting to be immersed in the resource, things like that. One resource we're currently working on that, again, I didn't know about until getting this job, was the La Cueva Trail System. And currently we're working on connecting the La Cueva trails to the Guadalupe Ridge Trail.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Guadalupe Ridge Trail is this, I believe, over 100-mile trail that connects, it goes through Carlsbad Caverns National Park, it goes through Lincoln National Forest and Guadalupe Mountains National Park. And so we are just kind of connecting through from BLM land to National Park Service land to Forest Service land, back to National Park Service land. So if you want a challenge and want to...
Do you know how many miles that would make the trail total? If it's over 100 there, do you know how... I mean, the Cueva Trail system, it's kind of difficult, but there's going to be like one main trail that most people will take.
I would say 100 and some change. That's a good question.
That's a great answer.
It's at least 25.
At least 25. So we're looking at a 125-mile hike.
You're going from White City to Standpipe.
Wow.
in in a follow the path kind of fashion, but it ends up being about 25 miles.
That's quite the challenge.
Absolutely. And
Especially in the environment, depending on the time of the year that you decide to do that hike, it could be very challenging.
Absolutely. And there's really lovely, if you're, I mean, a lot of the things with the Bureau of Land Management, there are different levels of, you said you're not super big on camping. There are different levels of kind of difficulty and immersion in the outdoors, different levels of challenge. I'm a very big advocate for challenge-based recreation, where you get to pick the challenge level you're looking for, and we have a bunch of different options for that. So, for example, with the La Cueva Trail system, there's some shorter hikes. Maybe I want to say one of the shorter ones is around like a half mile, a mile or so. And there are some longer ones. If you want to do the whole thing, you can do a whole 25 miles, do a whole 125 miles.
Right.
So
better bring some camping gear if you're going to do that one.
I suppose. So kind of doing some research beforehand, calling us if you'd like to kind of see what resources we have that can best meet your needs, I think is the main thing.
Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around the room. I'm going to go around the room, and I'm going to ask you what your one favorite recreation thing is here in Eddy County. And Wendy, I know that you're Roswell based, so I'll give you a chance to say whatever you want in the state of New Mexico. I don't know how much you've enjoyed about Eddy County, but I'd love to go around and tell me the one thing you like most about BLM recreation, the one service, campground, hiking, whatever it is that you provide that you personally enjoy the best in Eddy County. Wendy, I want to start with you.
Okay. Well, locally, 6 Mile Dam is my favorite. I love the running water and seeing the birds. And I like that it's also really close to the city, and yet feels like it's really far away. In terms of the Pecos District, another place, if people in Carlsbad wanted to take a drive, one place I really like is Valley of Fires Recreation Area.
Where's that at?
It's in Carrizozo.
Okay. Wow.
And it's really neat. It's a lava flow.
Yeah, so is that near the El Malpai, right? Isn't there El Malpai's like national monument or something out there? It's like just huge lava flows everywhere. Like
it is, but I think you might be thinking there's another one up by Albuquerque,
that's
up
the
on
one.
I-40, and so it's different from that, but it's the same idea. And what I like about it is that it's very wide open, and you can take really neat pictures of the lava flow and the plants growing in it. And it's also very accessible. You could bring little kids in strollers, somebody in a wheelchair. There's a nature trail there that's it's about, I think, 0.8 miles long.
It's ADA compliant too, I believe, is it? The
It
nature
is.
trail is, yeah. So I think I maybe
Yeah.
have been to that one before. And I thought there was some myth related to some lost gold in there or something related
Oh,
to Coronado.
really?
Yeah, like back in the day, like long time ago. There's some stories from 15 years ago or so where somebody that got lost and ended up unfortunately passing away as a result of looking for some supposed treasure out there.
Oh, I have to
There's
look
some good
into that.
mythology about that place too, and it was really neat when I went. And it's just one of those features that it's hard to believe that that's actually happened here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ashley, you've been here 2 years, so it's not like you're only 2 months. You've been here a couple of years.
Yeah, so I feel like my favorite of the places that we manage, or that I particularly manage so far, I actually just got to visit for the first time this past week, was Loco Lagoon, formerly known as Conoco Lake. So it's this really beautiful kind of in the middle of a bunch of oil pads, essentially this little oasis where it's a man-made lake. Where ConocoPhillips or Conoco Inc., I believe, originally donated
whoever at the time.
the water to it. Yeah, and it's just this beautiful birding area. It's great for fishing. It's stocked.
It's called what again?
Loco Lagoon.
Okay, you're gonna have to try to explain where that is for us.
Yeah, it's by Maljamar.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
so it's a bit of a drive, but definitely worth it. But yeah, for more specific driving locations, I always really lean on Google Maps. But
And you can go to Google Maps, the website, all
Yeah,
that
our
stuff is
website,
good.
yeah.
So Loco Lagoon.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that of the ones that I particularly manage, that's my favorite. To speak for one of my colleagues, Ellen, she manages our cave and karst kind of resource.
Yes.
And one of the things that I really fell in love with about this area is the caving opportunities. So in the past 2 years, the BLM sites that I tend to use the most are, for example, Sand Cave, Parks Ranch Cave. And just when it's 100 outside, you can get nice and cool inside of a cave and explore, as long as you're properly prepared for it, of course. 3
Right.
sources of light,
And-
3 people with you, but...
And not claustrophobic.
And not claustrophobic.
That would be
yeah,
helpful.
very important. But yeah, there are some really wonderful caving opportunities as well that I've really enjoyed utilizing.
Excellent. Ty? Can't say all of them.
No, but I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit
Okay.
and focus on the concept. And so just in Carlsbad, out of the Carlsbad field office, we manage 2 million acres of public surface.
All right, Ashley. 2 million acres of public service.
2 million
surface.
acres.
Okay.
And so if you're coming from another state, especially east of here,
Right.
the concept of public lands really doesn't compute.
No,
You know,
it's incomprehensible to them. They don't really understand.
But you can, unless it's signed that says private or no trespassing or something like that, it's there.
Right.
You can be as creative as you want to. And historically, over the past 4, 5, 6 decades, that sort of interest in public lands and going out and starting to do something turned into trails, turned into trail systems, turned into connecting this trail system to that trail system. And then next thing you know, you can walk from the city here in Carlsbad, you can walk all the way to Guadalupe Peak along a trail. It's
Right.
crazy. But it all started with someone's idea of fun, utilizing the public's land out there, and then, of course, looping us in so that we can
Right.
make sure it's done the right way
Right,
and
right.
not impacting cultural resources and things like that. But there's so much opportunity out there for whoever just has a great passion in doing it. And so anybody has ideas out there on how to recreate on public land and how we can get involved and help facilitate that goal, then definitely contact Ashley, stop by the office, and let's talk about it.
All right. Well, sounds like we're really excited for you to be here, Ashley. Welcome to the team. I'm not part of it, but no, I'm part of it today, right? So welcome to the BLM team. We have one more thing before we shut it down today. Wendy Brown took the SNMC podcasting class over the summer, so she can learn how to do a podcast for BLM. I think she put together a first one that was really great. So I hope BLM is enjoying it. But more importantly, she does get this fancy certificate of completion as a result of passing the podcasting class. So I wanted to hand that to you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well,
I love the class. It was so much fun. The people in the class made it a great experience. Also, it was wonderful.
Wendy was she was a star student, right? She went remote. She went to the field, recorded stuff. She did really, really great. So I hope that BLM and the field office here in the Pecos District is able to utilize that. But more importantly, thanks for joining. I thought it was great, and we had a really good time. So there's your certificate, and maybe I'm supposed to sign that. Maybe I will. I gave it a web giveaway at 3 without signing it already. So I'll go ahead and sign this real quick. You don't even need to have video to know that I didn't sign a certificate. And then now that I signed it, you're probably better off without that signature. All right. Well, sidetrack. No, we're almost done. I got Wendy Brown, Public Affairs Officer for Bureau of Land Management. Thank you very much for setting this up and coming down.
Oh, thank you. It was great.
Very nice to meet Ashley Shreves. Real exciting. The future of public land sounds pretty great, right? Brand new employee. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Ty Allen, as always, taking a holistic approach and overall approach. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having us, and look forward to next time. And we do have a new field manager.
Okay.
So sometime in the spring or so, maybe we can bring her along.
Yeah, let's get her acclimated to what's happening, and then I can grill her.
Absolutely.
All right. Cool. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.